this program, though, as well as anyone and the tradition. So when you look at this Arizona team, Matt, and we're looking at some of the numbers that just historically this team has just been unbelievable in Tommy Lloyd's first season. The last time that you can remember Arizona had a team this good, a legitimate Final Four contender, was when?
Well, first thing I'll say, I love that because those were two teams I was on the bottom of that graphic, 87, 88. I was on that as a freshman, 90, 91. But I think this is the best team since 2014, and that was the Sean Miller team that got to Elite Eight. They lost to Frank Kaminsky in that tough overtime loss. Nick Johnson got the foul late in that. But that team was number 1 in the country in defense. They were number 20 in offense. And to me, the difference between today and 14 was that team number 1, this team is a great defensive team, but plays with a much higher tempo. This team like 2, 3, or 4 in the nation in tempo. The 14 team was, I think, in the 200s at that time, so played a different way. The team in 14 played in the 60s. This team played in the 80s all of the time.
And I think you make a great point about the tempo for Arizona. And how impressed are you with the fact that a team can play with this kind of pace? And we know the energy that's required to do that. But then to come back on the other end and do what you're supposed to do defensively to close out possessions.
Man, they got some track guys like you, Jordan. They got some guys that can run and go up and down. But you're right. I think it's the size that they have inside and the length that they have, and not only inside but outside, because you got guys like Dalen Terry at the wing. You know, you've got Ben Matherin, who's, I mean, he's long, he's 6'5", but he jumps through the roof. And so it's just that size, that quickness, the athleticism. They can do it on that side, and they play hard on the other end. And, you know, everybody keeps talking about Tommy Lloyd coming from Gonzaga and the way they play and how fast they go up and down. But you have to have a mindset, as you know, Jordan, to play on the defensive end and play that tough.
You know, Matt, you mentioned that 2013-2014 team and that name, Frank Kaminsky, that I think still keeps Arizona fans up at night. And it got us thinking, if this is the best Arizona team since then, when you look at what they did in terms of their record, scoring margin, assist-to-turnover ratio, I mean, they had T.J. McConnell, Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Nick Johnson, Aaron Gordon. Like, they were stacked. But so much in March is about matchups. So for you guys, and Matt, I'll start with you, what's the biggest key for this Arizona team to make it further than the Elite Eight, to make it to the Final Four, maybe a national championship?
You know, for me, you mentioned T.J. McConnell, and I thought that team was incredible because McConnell was so good running the team. And I think that Kerr Kriisa, to me, is the key to this team. I mean, so many guys have great roles. They have a really tight 8-man rotation. And Kriisa, though, is the guy that I think, you know, a young kid, only played 8 games as a freshman. And I think, you know, teams have been going at him. They've been really being physical with him. But I think he's really responded in the last 4 or 5 games. He's really improved. He's evolving as a point guard. And we know how tough and how important that point guard position is when March comes around.
And, Matt, I also feel like when March gets here, it's how well this Arizona team can adapt to different coverages they're going to see. You know, when you get to the tournament, you might see man defense the first half, zone in the second half. And we've seen in college basketball lately how zone defenses can really bog down offenses. I think Arizona's really well built to handle zone defenses with their size and the fact that they have so many guys that can handle the ball and make plays. What do you think about Arizona and what they need to do when they handle these defensive switches they see, whether it's man or zone? How do you like their ability to adapt?
Well, I think that's a really good point in the sense that you think about some of the teams they've played. Everyone tries to slow them down, right? And you mentioned tempo, Jordan, earlier, and they try to slow the tempo. UCLA did it. USC did it. And as you said, they'll mismatch or they'll mix up zone and man. Some teams, what they've been doing actually, Washington did a great job on the zone early, and some teams will actually go zone, go into man. They're trying everything they can to kind of junk it up for this Arizona team. But Tommy Lloyd's done such a great job, I think, prepping them. And the way they play, it's read and react. So you can go zone, you can go man. It doesn't matter. They have such a good way of, you can't really scout them because they just are playmakers. He doesn't call a lot of plays. And so to your point, when teams are mixing things up, they go slow, they go fast. They've really proven they can play at different paces, different types of teams, and just let it flow because of their playmaking ability.
Yeah, a lot of the reasons why they are obviously on pace for a 1 seed.